Hello, and welcome to the September market update from Commonwealth Financial Network. My name is Brad McMillan. I'm Commonwealth's Chief Investment Officer. August was a tough month for financial markets. The only one that did well was fixed income because interest rates dropped. But the reason they dropped was the fear level went up substantially. We saw U.S. markets down about 1 to 3%. We saw international markets down about 2 to 5%. And that's a bad month. But it was worse 3 times earlier in August. We saw 3 separate pullbacks that took markets down about 4 to 6% during the month. That's the bad news. The good news is we also saw 3 separate recoveries that brought markets back up. So it was a bad month, but it might have been much worse. And looking forward, we need to ask ourselves, what caused the pullbacks and what caused the bounces? Here the news is simple. Actually, the pullbacks were caused by politics. We have the trade war that's continuing to rattle markets. We have the White House tweeting, we have China retaliating, which is new, and then we have the White House doubling down. The trade war between the U.S. and China continues to heat up, and it's likely to get worse, and that caused 2 of the pullbacks that we saw. We have the White House and the Fed going at it on interest rate cuts. The Fed may cut, the White House wants more and faster. That kind of disagreement is also rattling markets. And then finally, we have Brexit. We have Great Britain potentially crashing out of the European Union, which is significantly rattling international markets. When you look at all of these political issues, there's no wonder we saw the pullbacks that we did. The question is, why did we get the bounces? Well, the reason we got the bounces is despite all the headlines, despite all the very worrying news out there, the U.S. economy continues to turn in pretty solid performance. Yes, there are some weak areas. Manufacturing, for example, is slowing down. But the much bigger part of the economy, over 2/3 of the economy, is consumer spending. And that's not just going well, that's going very well. People have jobs. They're making more money. They're able to spend the money. And then when you look at confidence, which remains very high, they're willing to spend the money. We saw retail spending growth go up much more than expected. We've seen consumer spending in general go up much more than expected. And when you have that kind of conditions, the economy is doing pretty well. And as long as the economy is doing pretty well, you're going to see the financial markets cushioned. You're going to see the volatility from political issues, but you're also going to see them bounce back. And that is exactly what we saw. And that actually gives us some guidelines as to what we can expect over the next month. Yes, we're going to continue to see volatility. Certainly the trade war is not over. In fact, it might get worse. Brexit is heating up. The Fed and the White House are still going back and forth. And in fact, the whole U.S. election cycle is just getting underway. So when you look at all of that, we're certainly going to see politically driven volatility. And that's something we need to be aware of. But we're also going to see the economy continue to cushion that volatility. As long as the base economy remains solid, which it's likely to do, we can see the volatility, but we can also see the bounce backs. In other words, looking back at August, it wasn't great, but it might be a lot worse, and things are likely to continue to be pretty good going forward. With that said, that's it for this month. Join me in October for our next video update, but until then, if you're curious about what's going on, you can either check out my blog or you can follow me on Twitter. Thanks for watching.